I do like to think that maybe they were still hanging on to that idea of being educational for children, though.
Okay.
There's some simple math going on, you know? There's one point where the Toymaker is like, I see you only have 123 moves left. And so that would be a good way to know that, the counter's at 900.
Well, he's constantly doing that, actually. He's constantly reminding how many moves are left, and it's like...
Right.
Right. So awful.
So you're getting subtraction going on, you know. I think that's useful for children.
I'm Tom Dickinson.
And I'm Louis Midas.
And this is the Cloister Room,
a podcast about Doctor Who and other things.
The Celestial Toymaker.
The Celestial Toymaker
is my least favorite Doctor Who story.
Is it really your absolute least favorite?
I can't think of one worse than this.
Really? Not even like Time in the Rani? Like Time in the Rani has more redeeming qualities?
You know what? Yeah.
Huh.
Time in the Rani has a plot.
You know it does.
It has like some characters with clear motivations, rising and falling action. It has, people who are doing things for reasons. Yeah, I mean, it develops. Events follow one another in a logical sequence.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and even say that you can give them some crap, but I think the Bat people kind of have some charm too.
Yes, yeah. Well, so what did you think of the Celestial Toymaker?
It's these stories. The thing is that I went in knowing how you felt. I didn't actually know that you felt it was the worst.
I don't think I decided that until this time.
Oh, okay. But I knew that you disliked it. And I knew that you thought it didn't deserve the praise it got. But I did know that there was praise out there, that some people did in fact like it and think it's, one of the great lost stories or whatever. And so I went in thinking like, all right, I'm going to try really hard to find something I can like about this. And I did. I tried really hard, but I don't like it. I didn't.
Now, how did you experience it?
I experienced it.
Did you watch episode 4?
Oh, does episode 4 exist?
Oh yes, episode 4 exists.
No, I didn't.
No.
Oh,
so you just listen? I presume you just listened to the audio version, right?
I did. I just listened to the audio version as provided to me by Audible.com.
Oh yeah, there should be like a warning. Like,
there really ought to be.
3/4 of the way through, like, please note that this exists. You could watch it.
I didn't know that. Well, is it okay? So, all right. Well, actually, this is good. I didn't. Okay, because there were some points where I was kind of wondering what it looked like. So I can actually go and find that out, or you can at least at the very least describe them to me right now, so I can feel like I'm in the loop. Is it? Where does the episode? Is it? Can you find it anywhere? Like. Easily,
yeah, well, it is on DVD.
Oh, okay.
But it's not. It's part of the Lost in Time box set, which is a collection of what they call orphaned episodes. Just episodes that like 1 or 2 exist out of a story, so they just threw them together in one set. And there's a whole bunch of Troughtons on there and a few Hartnells. Now there's quite a bit of controversy over this box set.
Really?
And where you're supposed to place it on your shelf.
Oh, I can see that would be a problem.
There are I think 3 philosophies on it the 3 major philosophies. The first is that it goes before everything else. The second is that it goes between the Hartnell and Troughton eras. And the third is that it goes at the end of the Troughton era. I suppose you could also put it after everything else, like after.
You could use it as a bookend, basically.
Well, yeah, but like, I mean, do you put it after Survival but before the TV movie?
I think
you put it after the TV movie.
I think
put it. How about would you put it? What about Scream of the Shalka? Where does that go?
No, I think this needs to be like, you know, like a stack overflow kind of situation where this needs to go after everything, like, and it needs to keep pushing further back. You need to actually leave like maybe a few millimeters gap between this box set and like Series 8. you just need to keep inching it further away from the rest of Doctor Who. That's my new theory.
Well, I actually just put it at the beginning.
Oh, well, all right, I guess so.
Yeah, which I know it's very controversial, but yeah, you gotta put it somewhere. So
you do gotta put it somewhere. Okay, I'm actually looking at the episode right now. Okay, wow, all right, okay, so this is what the Doctor's, you know, that like triangle game looks like. All right.
Well, one thing, I don't know if you could tell this by just the audio, but it's Towers of Hanoi.
Oh, okay. It's an actual game.
Well, it's a very simple logic puzzle that like a kindergartner could do.
Oh, okay.
Which is why it's very strange that it's apparently supposed to be hard for the Doctor. And it's so hard that he can't even do it on his own, and the Toymaker is all of a sudden like, advance to move 720, and it the game just plays itself for a bit. And then the Doctor picks it up again.
Yeah, that's a little bit bizarre. That's, you know, and the weird thing about it is that this is all kind of like held together in like the flimsiest kind of like logic. I mean, you know, like, okay, I guess yeah, when the Doctor's playing too slow, the Toymaker like forces him to go faster or whatever, or, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, it's so bizarre to me that, like, you know, there's no inherent. This isn't a very good game. Like, these games that he's playing are kind of just like I mean, I guess all games are constructed more or less, but I mean, like, he's just imposing these sort of rules that are that are just his own made up rules for like why they have to, like, oh well, you know, I don't know. It's so bizarre to me.
Well, for me, it's not even clear why he's doing any of it.
Well, yeah, I would appreciate a little bit more backstory on, you know, the Toymaker himself, because obviously, you know, the Doctor has met him before. I guess in somehow, and I would like more backstory on how he became, you know, the Celestial Toymaker and, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, he's one of the things, like, you start out by finding out, oh, the Doctor has met him before, and then the story ends with the implication that, oh, we're going to meet him again, which kind of means that he gets grandfathered in as like a recurring antagonist, even though this is his only appearance. So I think that's one of the reasons why this story is so well regarded, because it's like the Daleks or the 10th Planet or you know, the first appearance of a celebrated recurring antagonist who isn't actually one. Although there were plans to bring him back for season 23, the Colin Baker season that got scrapped in favor of Trial of a Time Lord.
Really?
Yeah. And Big Finish turned that planned story into an audio.
Ah. And they kept the character of the Toymaker being the villain?
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting. Is that one better than this?
I think it's a little better. It's just not very memorable.
Oh, okay. Like, because when I imagine, like, all right, pitting companions against, you know, dolls or whatever, or whatever, the Toymaker's whatever minions. Well, you know what I envision is like the giant chess game from Harry Potter.
Sure.
Like, that's like my idea is like, okay, well, you've got a game that's like already been established. I mean, like, all right, I guess that doesn't necessarily make sense for like an alien, you know, world or whatever. But, you know, I want like a game that like a well designed game that has rules that's not like based on randomness.
Yeah.
Because that seems like what most of the games are. Like, they're guessing games or just like random chance games that don't really involve much strategy. I feel like at some point there should have been some kind of strategy where, you know, Steven and Dodo somehow managed to trick some of their opponents or something, but that never really happens.
Well, you know, I think one of the basic things that one does when they're making a plot is that, like, you put the characters in a difficult situation, and it's possible that they might fail because of their flaws, but they succeed because of their strengths. Whereas this is just a series of games that have no significance to anything beyond themselves, are resolved mostly through just random happenstance, and then are moved on and instantly forgotten because they're not important to anything else. And, like, when you compare it to, like, the chess game in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, you have, like, I mean, Ron Weasley sacrifices himself to let the others go on, and there's nothing like that. There's just nothing that happens that has any consequence.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, and it's so bizarre to me. I just there was so much potential here. There's so much potential here to just I don't know. I mean, I do. That's the thing is, I really do like the concept of, like, oh yeah, you're trapping, the Doctor and his companions in this universe where, they have to play these games in order to escape. But it's such a letdown.
Yeah, because I think that concept can only be the starting point.
Right.
There has to be something important that happens between the characters, or something like an important, like, why this game, like what's at stake beyond this game. It's just but this is just arbitrary dangers and hazards that are thrown in their direction.
Yeah, that's really true.
And all of the characters they meet are very annoying.
That's, completely true.
It was planned that this was when they were going to write William Hartnell out.
Oh. I was wondering about William Hartnell, and if, like, the reason that he was silent, he was forced to be silent for most of this serial, wasn't because of his declining health.
Well, I think it was because the production team just hated him.
Oh, okay.
By this point. So they just wanted him out of the way, and there are a lot of different versions of what actually happened here, and I don't know what's true versus what's just a rumor, but the general sense is that it was intended that he'd be written out of the story, he'd be made invisible, and then he'd be made inaudible, and then when he returned, he'd be played by a different actor.
That's interesting.
As though he had been somehow transformed. Yeah, it is kind of interesting because it's a recast without providing the foundation for future recasts, which is, I mean, that's whenever people like praise the notion of them originating regeneration in the 10th Planet, they're always like, oh, this set up a formula so that the show could go on forever, whereas this wouldn't do that.
No, it wouldn't, unless, like, although it would be really, really fascinating if, every time it was time to swap out, doctors, they had to return to the Celestial Toymaker, and he had to make the Doctor intangible for a bit. And they just had to keep doing that over and over again. And just, like, whenever, the Celestial Toymaker showed up, that was just the herald of, the end of this Doctor. And everyone would just know, like, whenever the Celestial Toymaker turned up, it's like, oh, well, he's dead now.
Well, maybe that's actually why they implied that the Doctor would meet the Celestial Toymaker again.
Oh, yeah.
Because maybe as originally scripted, like, the implication was like, oh, next time if we get tired of the next guy, we can just bring in the Toymaker again, and maybe even the Toymaker could look different, and then they could do something there. But yeah, I guess that idea never came to fruition, because I think one version of the story I heard was that the higher ups of the BBC didn't like the idea. Another version is that they accidentally issued a contract to William Hartnell without realizing they weren't supposed to, and then he signed on for more episodes. So I don't know which of those is true.
I like the thought that they just accidentally gave him a contract. There's something very appealing about that.
It's, well, to make another Harry Potter analogy, it's like when they accidentally give Dobby a sock. It's like, oh, no take-backs.
That's right. Can't take that back. That would have been so bizarre. That might have been a thing that would have killed the show, though. Like, not to say that, like, what they actually did, with regeneration, not to say that that's, like, better, like, in terms of, like, because, like, that was, like, I feel like at the time that must have been a big gamble in terms of, like, whether or not people would accept that. Maybe not. Maybe audiences.
It's not even really explained in the 10th Planet what's happened to him.
That's true.
This would at least provide some kind of explanation.
Would it?
Well, his form has been changed by the Toymaker.
Oh, okay.
This was done intentionally by a very powerful being.
All right.
I think that would be an explanation.
Yeah, a wizard did it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we can get behind a wizard did it. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Well, right, because they don't really. It's not like, because when like when the 9th Doctor regenerates into the 10th, he goes on this whole spiel about how, like, oh yeah, Actually, if I'm remembering correctly, his speech isn't even really that clear. Or he sort of describes it in sort of a nonsense way. But like in later regenerations, when it's time for the Doctor to regenerate and he's explaining it to the companion for the first time, he basically always says like the same. He recites this list of things that's going to happen. Like, oh, I'm going to change. I'm not going to be the same. I can't change back. I don't know who I'm going to be. And all this stuff. But I'm still me or whatever. And he basically says all those things, at least in the new series. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty well established. But yeah, back then it was just like, what, he just like called it a renewal or something?
Yeah.
And that was basically it?
Yeah, and he implied that it was something the TARDIS had done, I think.
Ah, interesting. I don't know. I mean, like, I do like that kind of like, oh, hey, here's this thing that I could always have done, or whatever, and it's just now you're seeing it for the first time. Like, I mean, I like that idea. Like, I don't know, I like when fictions do that. Like, or I guess when it's done well, but like, I don't know, so that it seems like a cool idea. Like, oh yeah, this is a thing. Yeah, of course I could do this. This is, why wouldn't I be able to renew myself? I'm trying to remember. This episode seemed to start with like a cold opening.
Well, it does. And I actually when I was I did the audio and the recon.
Yeah.
One layered over the other, which is not perfect because they don't sync up perfectly, but so I had to keep making adjustments, but it was not that bad. But in any case, so I did that, and I know the audio opens up with a recap of the arc.
Ah. Yeah, that was especially strange to me.
Yeah, but in any case, the arc ends on a cliffhanger, which we watched. We watched the arc.
We did. That's right. Okay, yeah, right. So I'm assuming that the arc came right before this.
Yep, the arc was right before this, and then they just finished up with the monoids and the Refusians, and that's why when the Doctor turns invisible, because the Refusians, as you remember, were also invisible, so that's why Dodo's stuck on the idea that, oh, this must be them. They must be doing something, or
right.
I don't know. But in any case, so it opens up. The Doctor has just turned invisible for no reason, and they talk about the fact that he's invisible. Something that works really great on audio. Dodo comes out and goes like, "Hey, isn't this new dress I just changed into really great?" And then they talk for a while about how great her dress is. It's scintillating audio.
Oh yes, just the best.
Yeah, so you don't even know what that looks like.
No, I don't. Well, I mean,
it looks really dumb.
Well, I see it now because I opened up the video.
Yeah, it's got this like circle on it, and
right. It's reminiscent, although I guess it came before, like sort of whatever that O is on like Rayman, on like Rayman's stomach or whatever.
Yeah,
this
is before that.
Yeah, this is before Rayman. This predates Rayman.
Yeah,
I feel like she's doing some kind of abstract Rayman cosplay.
And Steven's got this like goofy looking stripy shirt, and they just look like they look like a couple of dopes.
Yeah, what better costumes for playing these dumb games that have no bearing on anything?
Yeah.
It seems like they were really dressed for the occasion.
Mm-hmm. Like the master. But in any case, they so there's like a cold open, a recap of the previous, like a cliffhanger from the previous story, and then there's one at the end of the story too. There's a cliffhanger leading into the gunfighters.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. How does this end? I can't remember.
Well, the Doctor eats a candy.
Oh, that's right.
And then all of a sudden, he doubles over in pain.
Right, because he develops a toothache, and then he has to go see his doctor. Isn't that right? There we go. Yeah, I remember that now. So okay, yeah. So right. So this is just wow. So they're just really punishing the first Doctor here.
I guess.
He's turned invisible. He's given a toothache. Is this perhaps the toothache that initiates the regeneration? Because like the 10th Doctor, he was regenerating for a while before he finally gave in.
Well, yeah, and like the 10th Doctor, when he first regenerates, he says new teeth. That's weird. And then in Planet of the Dead, he says, "I'd like to keep these teeth."
Yeah.
So maybe he's just remembering what did him in the first time.
Yeah, wow.
His old teeth are wearing a bit thin.
Yep. I really can't forgive this episode because it did something that I never wanted. It made me feel sorry for Dodo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, briefly.
Why?
Okay, so we learned two things about Dodo in this, in like the very
Oh,
first
her mother
episode.
died. That's right.
Her mother died when she was a child, and no one has ever given Dodo flowers.
Oh, well, that's actually not terribly surprising.
Oh, really?
Well, because in her very first appearance, at the end of a story called The Massacre, which is a terribly depressing story that ends with this brutal argument between the First Doctor and Steven about like the Doctor's attitude towards changing history and how he can't do it, but Steven is like, well, if we can't prevent a tragedy, then what's the point? And he storms out of the TARDIS, and then Dodo storms into the TARDIS thinking it's a police box, and Steven comes back in, and then they materialize and they leave with her, and they're like, uh-oh, well, you're gone. You're never going to see your family again because we don't know how to fly this thing. And she's like, oh, don't worry, there's no one in the world who cares about me. And they're like, oh, I guess that's cool. Yeah, that was not verbatim, but it was something like, oh, I live with my aunt, and she won't even notice I'm gone, and I don't have any other family, and yeah, no, I don't have any friends either, so yeah, so it's not really all that surprising that no one's ever given her flowers, because
I guess not.
If anyone had, then that person would presumably have noticed she was missing.
That's true. That is very true. Well, I mean, we could combine these things and say that her mother could have given her flowers, before she died.
True.
Because her mother, I believe, when you're dead, you don't notice people are missing. I mean, that could very well be wrong. I could be mistaken about that. But
that sounds about right.
Well, in any case, it made me feel a little bit bad for Dodo. And I didn't, and that's the thing, is I never wanted this. I never wanted to feel bad for Dodo. And so now I do.
Yeah, well, what did you think about Steven and Dodo?
I mean, I don't know. They just kind of... it's weird because it almost seemed like Dodo seemed to be like almost the more reasonable one. She's like constantly reminding Steven not to get angry about about their opponents, that they're not even real. And it's like,
no, it's more the other way. Like she's too concerned about them.
Oh, I got it.
And she's like, oh, they must be really human after all, or something like that. She thinks she's so concerned for their well-being, and Steven is constantly like, shut up, they're not real. And it seems to me like there's this big conflict building between them, and of course it becomes very important at the end of the story. No, it doesn't.
Well, right, because what's his face pretends to be injured.
Yeah, Cyril.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it just... Because there's really nothing going on here. There's just nothing. There's nothing here. Just any two companions could have done just as equally poorly or well.
Yeah, it's true. I usually like Steven. There's not much... Like, he doesn't do much here. So, there's not much to latch onto, but... Dodo, of course, later would die of syphilis.
That's right. Probably because she cared too much.
Yeah. So what did you think about the Toymaker?
Probably a little bit racist.
Well, and you get this more when you're actually looking at the visuals.
Yeah.
But he's dressed in like this stereotypical like Chinese Mandarin costume. And he's basically supposed to be acting the part of, the Chinese villain stereotype, even though he's a white guy.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, right. Like, if he had some kind of motive beyond, like, forcing people to play games for his own amusement, yeah, I just wish there was more to it than that. It just bothers me.
Yeah, he's just, like, mysterious and powerful, but, like, there's nothing behind the mystery or the power. It just is... It's just there. He's mysterious because nothing he does could possibly have any explanation. So he's like inherently mysterious.
Yeah, there you go. But you could totally take this character and make him very interesting. Just give him some kind of motive that's maybe slightly different than, the typical conquer the universe kind of thingy. Just make it slightly different. And, you'd have possibly a really cool recurring villain.
Yeah, and I think things have been done with him in Big Finish, and they did a few things with him in some books, I think, that I haven't read. But, yeah.
I don't know. It's just not that interesting. Like, he pretty much just exists to, I don't know, just cause trouble for, the Doctor and companions, and it's never, his motivations are never established or clear. And it's not very entertaining.
No, I think that's the main problem, is that it's just not entertaining. And I think people just decided that this was a classic when they hadn't seen it. Because just like from a description that's a couple sentences long, you'd kind of almost assume it was. Like, you're like, oh, the Doctor and his companions get, like, tossed into a surreal nightmare world where they face bizarre challenges at the hands of a powerful villain played by respected actor Michael Gough, who you may know from the old Batman movie. Well, they weren't old at the time. They didn't exist at the time, but he was later Alfred in all the Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher Batman movies. So, like, oh, is this respected actor who's, like, doing all this crazy stuff? And I think what people did was, like, they kind of looked at the Mind Robber and, like, hey, we like this, and then just kind of copy-pasted all of their opinions about that and into this, and because it seemed to be, like, a pattern-matching thing.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
And then episode 4 was discovered, and then people watched it, and then I think there's been a gradual, like, people admitting, okay, well, it's not actually good per se.
It's not, not good as in, like, morally good. Like, maybe not quite that way.
No, certainly not.
So if we find the first 3 parts, then maybe people will realize this is just a terrible story.
Yeah. So there's a reason it's as bad as it is.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, and I thought that might be reassuring for you to know what the reason is, that there is a reason for it being as bad.
If there is a reason, this changes everything.
Yeah. Well, basically the idea was that there was this absurdist play in the 30s called George and Margaret about a dinner party thrown for 2 people named George and Margaret who never show up.
Okay.
So it's kind of like Waiting for Godot.
Right.
But before Waiting for Godot had been written.
Ah.
So basically they decided they were going to write this as a spiritual sequel to George and Margaret.
Oh, okay.
And the person who wrote George and Margaret was, by this point, a high-ranking person at the BBC.
Oh, okay.
And so they wrote it with their permission, but then at some point, this person saw a draft of the script and said, I don't really like this all that much. Please don't do this as a sequel to George and Margaret. So George and Margaret got taken out of the script, and the central concept was gone, and so they just had to do something else.
Okay.
That was it. So basically it had a central concept, and then the central concept was forcibly removed, and so they just had to fill time. So that's the reason it's bad.
So like this story was originally about George and Margaret?
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with any of these other things that ended up in the episode? Is that?
No. I think, well, basically it was the same general concept of, like, the Celestial Toymaker, but there were going to be other characters in the episode.
Oh, I
George
get
and Margaret.
I get, yeah.
And actors had already been cast for them, and so, but they were removed from the episode. They had to hastily rewrite it, and that's where, like, the Toymaker's minions come from. How it's, like, the same actors.
I get you.
In different parts. And they would have been George and Margaret, but they're not.
I see. So, like, oh, okay. So, like, yeah, I could see that being something better. Like, George and Margaret are trapped here. They've lost or whatever, and so they are trapped with the Toymaker. And now,
and that's why they never showed up in that play that we've all seen.
Right. There you go. All right, I get that.
I'm not sure how much better this would have been.
I don't know. Well, because there would have been some stakes. Presumably.
Yeah, well, because there are other characters in the story that are worth being interested in, so that would probably, I don't know, that would almost automatically make some kind of stakes.
Right, something. Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't think that would have helped that much, though. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Like, I guess if the story could make you feel, like, really, really bad about George and Margaret by the end of it, so that you're conflicted on whether or not you want the Doctor and his companions to succeed at their random chance games or kindergarten or pyramid stacking games. Yeah, like maybe that would make it an interesting kind of thing where you're just not sure how you feel about it. You're conflicted and stuff, and that would conceivably, that'd do something. That'd stir something within the viewer, which is more than I can say for this. Yeah, I don't know. I think it would have done something. Would have happened.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason that they failed to make something of the disastrous script was there was a changeover in production team with a new producer coming in, and all of this happened at the last minute, basically. So they didn't kind of have their act together because the producer John Wiles was leaving, and then Innes Lloyd was coming in, and that was what was happening.
So it just kind of fell through the cracks.
It did, which is that's kind of what happened to Time and the Rani with regard to script editor. Like a new script editor was coming in, Andrew Cartmel, and he hated the story. So.
Right. Yeah, there you go. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I would have trouble calling this a classic.
There are still people who defend it.
Really, I would love to hear that defense.
I don't understand it when they do, because most of the time, like, what they say is, "Oh, it's enjoyable, it's fun."
Okay, well, if you're coming at it from that, where it's like, where you're not even like trying to, defend like the plot as being misunderstood or something. It's like, well, at least it's enjoyable. Like if you're already resorting to that defense, I think you've kind of lost.
Yeah, because you can't decide for other people whether it's enjoyable to them.
Right.
So maybe there are some people who enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Maybe they just like watching other people play random chance games.
Yeah. What did you think of the other characters in the story?
They were weird. They were just really weird. Yeah, like there's this issue that's brought up over like whether or not they're real people. They don't seem like real people, and they certainly don't seem like pleasant people.
I'm not really satisfied that that's answered.
Yeah, right. And the doctor I don't think was always this like super compassionate, everyone lives Rose kind of thing. But like it seems like the doctor doesn't really even care. Like he's I don't remember if like he ever would find that out. But he's kind of more or less watching Steven and Dodo, right? Like the whole time. So he should be kind of clued in on this.
Yeah.
But he doesn't seem to really care about like saving them. Or anything.
No, not at all.
And for the most part, they just seem to like spout nonsense.
I think the one who seemed the most sensible was the Cyril the schoolboy at the end.
Yeah.
He was the one who seemed most like an actual character. Mm-hmm. Although he was egregiously ripped off from like this popular like children's character Billy Bunter. That British people at the time would have been familiar with. And the rights holders got really angry about it.
Of course.
Yeah.
As rights holders do.
Yeah. So I think after the fourth episode went out, the BBC had to air a disclaimer or something so that he was not intended to represent Billy Bunter. Yeah, I've never read any piece of media involving Billy Bunter though, and I probably never will though. So
he sounds
that doesn't do anything for me.
He sounds like a jerk.
Well, I think that's the concept. Like he's a greedy schoolboy who isn't kind. Sounds like a great character.
Yeah. Like, yeah. I've never like read any piece of media containing like Dennis the Menace, but I can kind of
really.
No. Should I have?
Well, not even like the newspaper comics.
No.
Not. You never looked at, like, did you never look at the comic page of your local newspaper?
I was more into, like, Garfield.
Really?
Yeah.
And there's Britain has an entirely different character who also goes by the name of Dennis the Menace.
Oh, wait, there's no association whatsoever?
I don't know if they've ever crossed over, but...
like a Jetsons meet the Flintstones kind of thing?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
Well, but I don't know. There's an entirely different character known as Dennis the Menace.
Wow. But in any case,
they both were created in March of 1951.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. Wow, that's fascinating. Was there like a spike in the number of new babies born named Dennis, and then both people, like both creators, independently like noticed this uptrend and was like, "This is a menace. This new name is a menace."
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay,
that's exactly what happened.
I that's what I was hoping. But yeah, so I imagine both Dennises the Menace have some kind of redeeming qualities about them. I'm guessing they're not total menaces.
Well, I don't know much about the much about the UK version, but the American Dennis is, I don't know, he's fine.
But anyway, in any case, that seems like a character that's worth reading about.
Yeah, you get on that.
I guess I need to. But Billy, what is it? Billy Bunt?
Billy Bunter.
Billy Bunter. That doesn't sound enjoyable at all.
No, apparently he's also racist.
Oh, wow, he just keeps striking out today.
I learned this from reading the Wikipedia page about him.
Oh, okay. So, but basically, the only worthwhile character in this entire episode, in this entire serial, was actually just shamelessly ripped off from another piece of media, is what you're saying.
And I don't know. I think worthwhile character might be overstating it.
That's true.
But he was the best characterized character in this, I think.
There you go. You're right. Yeah. So wow, that does not speak well of this episode.
No. Oh, and another thing is he was actually supposed to be ripped off from an entirely different character.
This just gets better.
No, because as scripted, he was supposed to be like the Artful Dodger from Charles Dickens, which is interesting because another failed attempt to do the Artful Dodger was Adric. Adric was supposed to be the Artful Dodger, but they just ignored that. So this guy, Cyril, was scripted to be like the Artful Dodger, but instead, I guess they decided, no, we're gonna do Billy Bunter.
Wow. Wow. I'm starting to be impressed by this episode.
I know. It's like the worst train wreck. That's why there's a line of dialogue in the... By the way, that's why there's a line of dialogue in the script where Cyril mentions that his friends call him Billy.
Is that... Oh, I see.
Like Billy Bunter.
Right.
There's no reason for him to say that. But,
okay.
But, yeah. But I suppose it's intended to signal to you, hey, this is what we're doing here, okay?
Just go along with it. Wow. All right. Wow. Yeah, this is something. I mean, yeah, I now I really want to hear a defense of this episode because it just seems I would just love to know what the argument is. Besides, it's entertaining. But man, that's wow.
I don't know. I think there's almost nothing redeeming at all.
Well, I think some of the dialogue is just so like, I mean, this is obviously coming from the from like there's that one soldier guy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He is some just absolutely, I don't even know if this dialogue was just cobbled together from like Mad Libs or something, but it's like, soldiers never apologize, it's a rule. I don't even understand like in what context that makes sense.
I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you.
I just
probably no context.
Probably.
Now, if you only listened to the audio, then you probably missed the N-word.
Yeah, I did.
Because the audio version has Peter Purvis narrating over it.
That's clever.
Because the one point where the king and the queen are doing their whatever bullshit they're doing, and they have to pick out one of the dolls, and she says, "Oh, pick one out at random," and then he does the version of "Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo,"
right? That
has the N-word in it,
right? Huh? Wow.
Yeah. So that's the only instance of that in Doctor Who, as far as I know.
Wow. That's wow.
Yeah, it was kind of shocking the first time I heard it because I was not expecting to hear that, and it was not acceptable even then, and I don't understand how it got on television.
Wow, yeah,
like because this was like at the height of the American Civil Rights Movement.
Right, wow, yeah, no, wow. I'm actually surprised people still try to defend this thing.
Yeah, and I think it's that I think that makes the whole blatant Chineseness of the Celestial Toymaker. Celestial, of course, being another a slang word from the Victorian era for Chinese people.
Oh, right.
But that makes it seem a lot less excusable. Like,
right.
It seems a lot clearer that this is someone who probably had some pretty unsavory views and who had no qualms about putting them into children's television.
Yeah, wow.
Even though they don't matter or mean anything in the context of the story. Like, it's not like they set out to write like a story about how other races are bad. Because the story's not about anything.
Right.
But those things just got thrown in there as a little bit of, salt for flavor or something.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I'm completely fine with them never finding this episode.
I mean, because one thing I can't... Like, if they did find it and then they released it on DVD...
Yeah, what would they do?
Imagine the forum arguments.
Oh my god.
Over people demanding that it be kept in versus demanding that it be removed.
I don't even want to think about those forum arguments.
Oh, they'd happen.
Oh, I know they'd happen.
Imagine, even on Reddit, too.
Oh god, yeah.
But, yeah.
Way too much, like, thought power would go into, like, trying to debate each other over that. Yeah, no, I don't want that. I would rather that thought power be devoted to, like, solving world hunger or something.
Yeah. So if I were to rank all of the Doctor Who episodes from that are missing, from the ones that I most want to see come back to least want to see come back, I'd say part 2 of the Celestial Toymaker is probably right at the bottom.
Okay.
And, like, then parts, like, 1 and 3 are tied right above it.
Right, yeah. It's important to rank these individually.
Well, because if they're found, I mean, sometimes they just get found individually. That's how part 4 got found, so.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're not always all together.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, in retrospect, I'm glad I didn't like this episode. I am really glad I just didn't like it.
There's also a ballet scene that doesn't work well in audio. It might...
No.
That might... If they were to find that might redeem the whole story, if it's good enough.
It could very well. It could very well. I will say that that my not wanting this found is contingent on whether or not the ballet scene is good. Because if the ballet scene is good, maybe I'm alright with, at the very least, just watching that ballet scene. Like, maybe just accidentally lose the rest of it, but just keep the ballet scene. If it's good, which it could be.
It could be. It could be pretty good. It's better than, like, a minute of just weird music while looking at a static image of ballerinas.
Yeah, I imagine it would be. It has to be, right? Unless...
I suppose it doesn't have to be. It could be worse.
It could be. Yeah, I would say that of all the episode, of all the story that we don't have, that has the most potential to be not terrible, if we were to find it. Like, that is... Like, I imagine that there are parts in this episode that, if we find it, it'll actually be worse than if we just had never found it. But this is the one scene that I think might actually be better for having found it.
Yeah, it might.
So that's that part of the story is in the black, so to speak. And it's at least possibly worth saving.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't hold out much hope for liking any of the rest of it if it should be found.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that might benefit is, like, the scene in, I guess it's episode 1 where Steven and Dodo are facing off against the sinister clowns.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because it's all very, very physical.
Yeah.
So, if there's anything interesting going on there, then it's been wiped clean. I just don't think there is.
No.
So.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I just ugh.
Well, is there anything else to say?
I don't know if I've actually said anything. I don't. I do say that. I do have to say that, like, at the end of this episode, the Toymaker does the thing where he tempts the Doctor with, whatever limitless power or whatever, and the Doctor turns him down, which is kind of like what the Master does at some points during the Pertwee era.
Yeah.
But it would have been better had, the Toymaker been built up as an actual character,
Yeah. I don't know if the Doctor, like, really wants what he's offering, because the Toymaker, it's not clear what power he has beyond his own little toy room.
Well, if you're king of the toy room, that's something.
It's not nothing.
Big fish in a little pond or whatever.
The Trilogic game, the actual prop.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently Peter Purvis, who plays Steven, got it.
Really?
Yeah, so he got it afterward, and he ultimately came to think that it was bad luck.
All right.
Because he was having difficulty finding work.
Okay.
And he threw it away, and then the very next day he got a role.
Wow.
Which only proves the power of the Celestial Toymaker.
Yeah, no, wow, really? That's there it is, right there.
It ruins lives, ruins careers.
It really, really does. Yeah, and maybe that's why we can't find it.
Maybe
We're
better off.
Like, how do we know that the BBC didn't start their tape junking policy just because of this episode?
And the rest of the ones they junked were just to cover it up.
You're right. They were trying to cover it. Yeah, exactly. They didn't want the the writer, the racist writer or whomever, to feel bad that the BBC hated his episode so much that they had to start junking the Daleks or whatever.
Yeah, they were worried that if this story was the only one to go missing.
Yeah, that would throw up some red flags.
Yeah, and then people would try hard to track it down. Right. Whereas since it's not the only one to go missing, it's there's less attention on it specifically.
Right.
But it didn't work because one episode came back.
That's right. Yeah, it's like the ring of power.
Just like it.
Just like it.
Ought to get chucked into a volcano.
I think it has to come to that.
Hey, Lewis.
Hey, Tom.
What are we going to watch to follow up the Celestial Toymaker? What could possibly follow the Celestial Toymaker?
I don't know, but I really want to find out.
There's only one way to find out.
Yeah.
Randomize it.
Yeah.
All right, the random selector is getting ready, selecting randomly, and the story it's chosen is The Robots of Death.
Ooh.
Yep.
Wait, no.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Wait a second, though. No. Yeah, I don't believe it. I don't disbelieve it. I believe that that's the story that's been chosen. Am I mistaken? Or is that no. Is that the first Fourth Doctor story? Or
no, that's just Robot.
Oh, that's Robot. Silly me. I should have known the difference.
This is a Fourth Doctor story.
Okay, is it in the Key to Time?
No.
Oh, okay, then I guess I don't know why I know it. Or maybe I don't.
Leela.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. Another Leela story.
It's written by Chris Boucher, but script edited by Robert Holmes.
Can't keep that man down.
Nope, sure can't.